Speaker, I just want to begin by welcoming everyone back to the legislature, and the exception of the tribute to Joseph Ning. Feels like deja vu all over again, Mr. Speaker. They're there and we're here. Premier, I teed that up for you. Premier, Ed Clark made it clear that his report had only the conclusions that you wanted when he stated, and I quote, "You can only do it by sitting down with the Premier and saying, if you're going to ask me to do something, why don't you have me do something that you actually want?" Now, Premier, because you didn't allow Mr. Clark to have all of the options on the table right from the get-go, a number of people, including myself, think that what you really wanted was an excuse, a report, that would allow you to bring in new revenue tools that will raise the cost of alcohol, beer, and hydro, just to name a few.
Question.
With the added threat of people losing their jobs as you squeeze these assets. So I ask you today, are people going to lose their jobs? How many people are going to lose their jobs?
Thank you.
Is the price of beer going to go up? Is alcohol going to go up? Or hydro?
Thank you. Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I want to join my voice with the Leader of the Opposition to welcome everyone back. I know that everyone has worked very hard in their constituencies over the period of time that the legislature wasn't sitting, and so welcome back here. There is a lot of work to do, and I'm very pleased that we are all back here to do it. And as the Leader of the Opposition knows, we ran on a plan to build the province up. We ran on a plan to make investments in the people, in the infrastructure, in the businesses of this province, and that's what we're going to do. And part of that was we said we were going to ask Ed Clark and his group, council that included Janet Ecker and Francis Lankin, ask him to give us some advice on assets, and that's exactly what we've done, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Well, Mr. Speaker, back to the Premier. It's clear that Ed Clark's recommendations won't solve the significant financial problems that you brought to this province. $11 billion deficit, which is more than all the other provinces and the federal government combined. I think my colleague from Wellington Halton Hills said it right when he said it's clear that you've learned nothing from previous tobaccos. You couldn't run a hot dog stand. Premier, will you do what we have asked? And to make sure you get it right this time, because your track record with Orange and the gas plants is abysmal and scandalous, and ask the Auditor General to review every public asset sale before you move forward, and to ensure that taxpayers are getting the best deal.
Order. Premier.
So, Mr. Speaker, I actually believe that what we have asked Ed Clark and his council to do is a perfect example of learning from the past. Yeah. Because if we think about the way the member opposite's party, when they were in office, dealt with the 407, Mr. Speaker, I mean, there could not be a more blatant example of a thoughtless, unplanned, and an absolutely bad deal for the people of Ontario, Mr. Speaker. So we have learned that this view and review of assets has to be done in a thoughtful way, Mr. Speaker. It has to be done in a way that maximizes and optimizes the assets that we have in this province, and then allows us, Mr. Speaker, to make the investments that we know we need in assets for the future, like transportation infrastructure.
Stop the clock. Stop the clock. I'm going to make this comment once and then move on to a more aggressive way to bring civility here. When the Premier is answering, or anyone on that side is answering, if I hear heckling from that side, I'm going to cut the answer short. And the same goes on this side. And now I'll move into individuals. Final supplementary, please.
Premier, since you've taken office, you've talked a lot about transparency and accountability, but your actions don't match up with the rhetoric. Your new Liberal member from Trinity Spadina told us recently in committee that he believes in supporting openness and transparency, but only, quote, at the right time. That's pretty consistent with what we've seen from you thus far. However, you have stated that had various precautions been taken in the past, the gas plant scandal would never have happened. So we're asking you to take those precautions today and let the Auditor General do her job and look into every public asset sale before you close the deal. Why won't you agree with that? We all agree with the Auditor General and the impartiality there and the expertise there. It's the right way to go. Just say yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, well, you know, I know that the Auditor General will choose
Member from
the areas
Leeds Grenville, come to order.
that she wants to look at, Mr. Speaker, and I'm confident that as we move forward, as I say, on a review of and action on optimizing the assets that belong to the people of Ontario, we are going to be able to realize real new benefit from those assets, Mr. Speaker. And in fact, the Council was asked to look at maximizing the value of Hydro One, OPG and LCBO to generate a better return, Mr. Speaker, to provide a benefit to customers, and to provide the opportunity for us to invest in transit and transportation infrastructure. So, Ed Clark, who has led that review, made a speech last week, Mr. Speaker.
Answer.
We will be looking forward to his interim report, and all of that information will be available to the people of Ontario, including the Auditor General, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.